Welcome to Show Dojo. This is Apple TV's Silo, Season 1, Episode 4. Episode 4 of Silo starts with a flashback scene of Juliette's childhood. Her brother Jacob seems quite sick, needing oxygen after an undisclosed illness. Juliette brings his favorite toy as she holds him, hopeful that he will recover. In the present, Robert Sims, head of security, Bernard, former head of IT and current acting mayor, and Juliette Nicholls are at Mayor John's apartment where Deputy Marnes is standing and agonizing over her murder. He insists that she was killed with rat poison, but believes he was the target, not her. Marnes is also angry that Nicholls is acting sheriff on the investigation, despite not having any experience or being officially sworn in. After the opening credits, it is revealed in another flashback scene that Jacob and Juliette's mother died, although a cause is not given. Juliette's father, Dr. Pete Nicholls, struggles to balance grief while raising his daughter and his job at the clinic. He leaves Juliette to fend for herself. One day before leaving for work, he asks her to take her brother's and mother's stuff to recycling. In the silo, it is illegal to hang on to items that can be used by someone else. She keeps Jacob's toy as a memento. In the present, Juliette arrives at the upper-level cafeteria. She stops and stares at the screen curiously. There is a resident seated staring at the screen. But before Nicholls can make conversation, she is called by Holston's secretary. Sandy walks Nicholls to her new office, hands her the keys to Holston's apartment, and takes her measurements for a uniform. She doesn't seem particularly pleased with Holston's replacement because she is from the bottom 50, as the lower levels are referred to in the silo. Nicholls requests access to a locked safe in the wall, but Sandy tells her that she will get the combination after she is sworn in. Juliette is looking for the George Wilkins file. Sandy lets her know that the new mayor requested that she clean out Holston's office before Nicholls arrived. Before leaving, Nicholls reminds Sandy that she is now her boss and will be expecting that file. Juliette then explores the sheriff's station. She stops at Holding 3, pausing to examine the screen. Although smaller, the image is identical to the one in the cafeteria, in the down deep, and the one she noticed when she arrived at this level. The next morning, she is woken up by a visit by Mayor Bernard. The mayor hears a rattle in the vent system, but Juliette tells him she doesn't mind it. She changes the subject. Juliette finds it funny that Bernard is the one swearing her in, despite his accusations against her in the past. When asked about the heat-resistant tape, Nicholls responds that she did not steal, but instead appropriated it because they needed it in mechanical. Bernard decides to let bygones be bygones and proceeds to swear her in. After receiving the combination to the safe, Nicholls is searching for George's file in her office when she is approached by Sandy to sign funeral arrangements for Mayor Johns. She lets her know that Judicial does not have any record of a George Wilkins file, but Holston did leave her a file on the desk. In it, she finds the note Holston wrote on his last day. It says, "Double the flowers," in front of the mirror. Their conversation is interrupted by a radio call about Deputy Marnes. Juliette arrives in the alleyway to find Marnes drunk and beating up a man named Frankie while questioning him about Mayor John's poisoning. Nicholls eventually convinces him to stop embarrassing himself. Over a cup of coffee in the cafeteria, Marnes shares his frustrations about Nicholls. He believes that she said or did something to Holston that led him to ask to go outside. The deputy is taking the investigation into his own hands. He knows Frankie poisoned residents with bad alcohol in the past and figured he was the prime suspect. He is also frustrated because he believes that he is the only one in the silo concerned about finding the truth. Nicholls tells him that he is being rash in his decision-making. She also lets him know that she only asked Holston to investigate a murder that she could prove happened. Holston, despite having the evidence, told her that he would still report it as an accident to Judicial. Before leaving, he told her he would send her a sign. The next time she saw him was when he was leaving the silo. Then the mayor showed up to give her Holston's badge. Nicholls never intended to be sheriff, but agrees to work with Marnes on his investigation. The pair visits one of the apartments in the alley. While waiting outside, a man named Patrick Kennedy approaches them and confronts Marnes. He tells them that his wife will not answer the door because she has been dead for a year since Marnes framed her. After a verbal altercation, Patrick punches him in the face. They return to the deputy's apartment where Nicholls helps him ice his broken nose. Seeing Mayor John's portrait on the wall, Juliette realizes that this investigation means a lot to Sam and agrees to continue helping him if he stops getting himself in trouble. Before leaving, she offers him protection from the sheriff's office, but he declines, claiming that he owns a shotgun. We then flash back to Juliette's childhood home. She wakes up and packs a bag in anticipation to leave for the lower levels. She leaves her brother's toy behind. She considers stopping at medical to tell her father and ask for permission, but instead decides to forge a letter. She finally gets to mechanical, where she meets a younger Martha Walker. Martha is familiar with Juliette's mother, Hannah Nicholls. She also knows that the letter is forged, but allows her to stay, giving her the nickname Fixer. She orders Knox to pair her with Shirley on the scavenger team, where workers have 5 minutes to sort through the recycling items. If there are any valuable pieces, these are kept to be fixed. When she returns, Martha is waiting for her with her father. She knew the letter was forged because she misspelled mechanical. So, Martha contacted Juliette's dad, Pete Nicholls, to come and fetch her. She refuses to leave, though, and confesses that she is happy and the long, grueling hours keep her focused and are a distraction from her grief. Martha allows her to stay, reminding Juliette of the importance of her job at mechanical. She orders her to shadow Knox, her future boss. Back in the present, Nicholls and Marnes separately investigate their cases. Juliette looks for Holston's hard drive and George's file at recycling, while the deputy interrogates possible suspects. Robert Sims pays Marnes a visit later that day. Judge Meadows wants Paul Billings instated as the new sheriff. They need Bernard and Deputy Marnes' signatures to overrule Mayor John's signature. Deputy Marnes says that Nicholls knows she is not wanted and will eventually fail. However, he also refuses to sign anything or work for Meadows, claiming that he only works for the good of the silo. On her way home, Juliette passes by the cafeteria. She meets the resident from earlier studying the camera again. This time, he introduces himself as Lucas and confesses that he has heard of Juliette's name before from A Forbidden Relic, a play written by a rebel. After an awkward introduction, they say goodnight and she heads to her new home, Holston's former apartment. She stops in the hallways by the stairwell to call her friend. Sam is drinking again and reminiscing on the good times he shared with Ruth Johns. His radio is on and he overhears Juliette and Martha talking. She asks Fixer if she has made any allies yet. Juliette discloses that she is unsure if she can trust Marnes. Martha mentions that they are making progress down in the lower levels, adding that they may need Juliette's insight, then continues to work on repairing the camcorder. When Deputy Marnes gets to his apartment, he is attacked by an unknown intruder who pulls the deputy's shotgun on him. As the episode comes to a close, Juliette turns on the AC and hears the rattling noise in the vent. She traces it. Attached to the fishing line she and Holston found in the collection of relics is the George Wilkins file. Stay tuned for episode 5.